Sync licensing is when they sync your music to a picture, film, or a television show.
Okay.
Okay. If you are putting your music on Spotify, that is streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and anybody can put their music on Spotify. Let's just say that one of your artists records a Rolling Stones song,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to release their version of a Rolling Stones song.
Right.
So there's like 3 specific things that can happen. One is a sync license, which means it would go on film or television.
Mm-hmm.
Another is a mechanical license, which means they're going to sell it on a CD or they're going to sell it as a download. The third thing is a streaming license. They're 3 different things.
Correct.
Okay. Sync licensing, that means you're going to get your piece of music and your recording in a film or a television show. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 aspects to a sync license. One is who owns that recording, and 2 is who owns that song or that composition.
Mm-hmm.
2 different things.
Right.
Both have to be cleared. Not to mention, if you got all the musicians and extra singers and stuff you have on your thing, that stuff you really need, and this is a very important thing people should learn as early as possible when they're going into a studio. And let's say they're not a band. Let's say they're a singer-songwriter and they're hiring a drummer and a guitar player and some background singers and stuff like that. They need to get work for hire agreements signed by all those people so that if later on they want to get their song placed in a television show, they don't have to worry about the guitar player coming around and trying to collect a whole bunch of money somehow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a very important thing, work for hire agreements. And if there's a band,
Mm-hmm.
the band should write a piece of paper up. It's called a letter of understanding, clearly defining who owns what, who owns any portions of the recording, who owns any portions of the compositions. Then as far as the composition, there's what is called the writer's share and the publisher's share. When you write a song, and let's say you're a member of BMI, Performance Rights, you register that song, let's say it plays on television and they pay $5 for the use. $2.50 of that is considered the writer's share, which should always go to the writer. The other $2.50 is considered the publisher's share. And the publisher's share can be owned by somewhere else or it can be owned by the writer. It depends on the situation. Oftentimes, companies want the publisher's share because they're going to do work and invest in generating income for your composition. They need to be repaid, and they do that by getting the publisher's share. And that's just something I'll tell you right now. A lot of times people go to classes like UCLA or something like that, and the teachers who sometimes have no experience tell them, don't ever give up your publishing. So they get this idea in their head that they should never surrender their publisher share. Well, if it makes financial sense to surrender your publisher share because someone's going to really do something for you and generate income and build a career for you, they're entitled to that publisher share. But people get this idea that anyone that wants the publisher share is a thief, and it's just not true. That being said, if you're going to give your publishing up on a song, you have to have a very clear understanding of what you think your song is worth. And if the value you're going to get from giving that company the publisher share or possibly full ownership in the master for some period of time is worth what they're going to give you in return. And that's the trick right there. We can talk about that for hours. I would tell them to join Taxi.
Taxi, yes.
Yes. Taxi is a tip sheet. Have you ever heard that term, tip sheet? Tip sheet is a sheet where someone sends you a letter or an email and says, this week, this particular film company is looking for a song like this for this movie, and this is how much the sync fee is.
Oh, okay.
So basically, tip sheets are usually it's a service you have to pay for where they tell you who's looking for what and how to contact them. And I'll just put this up right now. This is called Hey, That's My Song. It's by my friends Tracy and Vance Marino.
Oh, nice. Okay.
This is a really great educational book on how to do all this stuff. I don't have any ownership or participation in this book. It's just the best book. And these 2 people are the absolute best networkers in the business. And I'll give you the name of another gentleman. His name is Steve Collum. Pretty successful composer in the library business. And he now teaches people. First of all, they have the misconception that all sync licenses are like $50,000. And there's a lot of sync licenses that are $50. A lot more, actually, number one. Number two, the work for hire thing, super important. Get work for hire agreements from all session musicians. If you're in a band, you guys should have a letter of understanding up front. Everybody understands who has a right to shop for a license and who gets paid what
Right.
to sing. Also, you need to understand that you cannot just take a Rolling Stones song and re-record it and go out for a sync license. You the sync, whoever is the music supervisor, whoever is on the TV show, if they want I Can't Get No Satisfaction and they want a cover of it, they will know what to do, because they have to secure the rights to that composition separately from the recording. It's two different rights. Now, in the old days, let's say the sync was $5,000. $2,500 of that would be for the recording. $2,500 of that would be for the song. That was just the way it was. Nowadays, it's not always like that. The Rolling Stones might want $100,000 for Get No Satisfaction, the song, but not their recording. So they might give the Rolling Stones $100,000 for the rights to use the song. They might give you $2,500 to use your recording. So there's the rights for the recording and there's the rights for the composition. They're two different things, have to be negotiated separately. If it's your song and you're recording, they're going to give you a fee and it's going to be for everything. But now there again, if you're a band and the bass player wrote the song, is he going to get half the sync fee and then is the band going to split the other half for the master use? You have to have that understood up front, which is why the letter of understanding is good, because then everybody understands.
Right.
It blows up all the time in people's faces when they think there's value, when they think there's money. It just like comes apart. It's very important, but it's not that easy to just do. Every company has different expectations and different formats, so it's not that simple. You know, I'm going to bring this book back out, Tracing Advanced Marino. That really has a great information about metadata in there, but it's a case by case basis. I mean, there's some basic things. Song genre is a song genre. Film genre is a film genre. That, you know, there's keywords, there's moods, there's all kinds of different stuff. But every company is different, so you have to find out what the particular company you're pitching to, or you license your music to, what they want. See, now in my case, I got a program I created, which took me years to create. It's got every single kind of metadata that anybody could possibly want in it, and I'm able to export it to about 20 different formats, depending on which company I'm sending it to. I know what their format is, so I have everything in there, and then I can export specifically what a certain company wants. Also, there's another thing, keywords, they call it spamming. Okay, so like somebody's got a heavy metal song, and there's one little like guitar lick in there that maybe possibly somebody might think vaguely sounds country, so they'll put country as a keyword. So now somebody's looking for a song that sounds like a country song, and this heavy metal song comes up, and it pisses them off. So you want to be accurate, and you don't want to overreach. Yes. There is a lot more streaming and a lot less broadcast, and so the amount of money that you can get paid has gone down. And in a lot of cases, the upfront money is the only money you get. That's number one thing. Also, there's something called retitling or non-exclusive licensing. I mean, in the old days, if you had your song, let's say it's called Bob's Blues, you had Bob's Blues and you registered with BMI, and you were the writer, and then whoever was the publisher was the publisher. Nowadays, there's a lot of companies that they do what they call non-exclusive retitle deals. So, like if the company's initials are CRM, and they make a deal with you to do a non-exclusive retitle deal, they'll take Bob's Blues and they'll call it CRM, and they will register it that way. CRM Bob's Blues. So you got your original Bob's Blues, and there's a CRM Bob's Blues, which is the same piece of music, but that company got it placed in a TV show, so it'll be put on the cue sheet as CRM Bob's Blues. They will get the publisher's share, the writer's share. But somewhere else where maybe you put it in a TV show, you'll get both. So that's a way that people can put their song in like 10 different libraries, let the library have the publishing, and widen their chances. That's a good thing. The bad thing is you put your song in 10 different libraries like that. Now Atlantic Records wants to sign you to an artist deal. And then they find out that you've signed these retitle contracts with companies all over, and they go,
you can't, I got you.
Can't do that. So you have to decide what you're trying to accomplish. I know a lot of people that have pile A, which is they own their songs, pile B, which is their songs that they retitle and try to make as much sync money as possible, and they keep them separate. So if they got a song that they are convinced is a hit song, they don't put it in that retitle pile. But you really have to understand the ramifications. What's the pluses and what's the minuses? Okay, first of all, if you're a member of ASCAP or BMI, one of the American publishing companies, they're going to collect your royalties in all those countries.
Oh, okay.
Automatically. Now, if you want to take it a step further, there are organizations called publishing administrators, publishing administration. They will do more work for you. Like they will contact every country and send them a letter of notice that, okay, we're administrating the publishing, blah 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 blah. They're going to take part of your publishing money in exchange for that administration. So, and you're not going to be able to get a deal at a publishing administrator unless you're successful already. So there's a lot more content, so there's a lot more opportunities, but the money is a lot less.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a numbers game. Have you ever heard the term long tail? I'm going to draw a little picture here.
Okay.
So the long tail is like this. In the old days, you were Queen, and you had Bohemian Rhapsody, and that sold like a billion copies, and you made a fortune off that one song. Okay. Nowadays, the long tail, what it means is these things make hardly anything, so you have to have a whole lot of songs to make any money. It's called the long tail.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of content out there. You got to have a lot of relationships with people. You have to be feeding the machine, and it's a long, slow, hard process.